Hammers. The simple, uncomplicated tools have been around for over 3 million years in one shape or another. Nowadays, they all look very similar, but they have subtle differences for different uses. Ultimately though, they're designed to amplify the force you make from swinging into the object you're hitting. But if they are that simple, why are there so many different types on the market and why do the prices vary so much? Surely a 20-ounce hammer is a 20-ounce hammer, right? Today we're going to look at different hammers that look really similar but have very different price tags. Although this isn't an ultimate guide to hammers, this is going to be quite educational and it should inform you and help you decide which hammer's right for you and your job. So in front of me we have a range of different hammers, range from super budget to quite expensive. So technically all these hammers are exactly the same. They knock nails in and most of them can take nails out. The main differences in the hammers is the head, the shaft and the handle. But there's actually a lot more that goes into the design of a hammer. So why does the design matter? Let's talk physics for a moment, but don't worry, no crazy equations. But as I said in the intro, the hammer amplifies the swinging force you give into the object you're hitting. How much that force is amplified is based on a few key things. First of all, the speed of the swing. The faster you swing at something, the harder you're going to hit it. Next is the mass, and in this case, the mass of the head. The heavier something is, the harder the impact. Next is the length of the handle. That will amplify the speed in swinging the hammer. That's with a short handle, no good. Ergonomics is also key in the design. Bad ergonomics can lead to RSI or nerve damage. So if you're using a hammer over a long period of time and you're hitting something that's hard to get into the ground or hitting a hard material, you want a hammer that's going to absorb the recoil so it's not going through you and it's transferring more of the energy you're putting into it into the object you're trying to drive in. So grip's another really important factor to think about. The last thing you want to be doing is swinging your hammer, losing your grip and your hammer's gone flying. Bit of a tip from me, if you are looking at different hammers and different grips, try to go one with a flared bottom on it, okay? Because when you're swinging the hammer, that's like a little stop block. So as you're swinging it, all the pressure goes into that bottom bit and your hand rests against it, so you've got a bit of a better grip on it. Most decent brands will have this. Even this budget hammer has it, but it's less defined. The handle on it is really slim, so they'll probably try to save a little bit of money on that. Speaking of money, let's talk about the price. So when you're shopping online or in store for hammers, you'll find a lot of hammers looking very similar, range from really cheap to really expensive. So the question here is, what am I really getting for my money when I buy the hammer? Let's look at 3 hammers on the table. Starting off, cheaper of the range is our Forge. This one was about £6. Now, this is the one with the fiberglass shaft on it. We said about the grip and the ergonomics of the hammer. Again, it's got the flared bottom on it and it's a 2-part hammer, separate hammer head to the fiberglass shaft. So my thoughts on this hammer, actually for the money, it's not too bad. I mean, the grip on it is sound, flared top, it's got a decent rubber grip on it, not too heavy, easy enough to swing about. So moving on to our DeWalt, this one was about £35. Now there are some noticeable differences with it. Now we've got the single unit from the hammer head and the shaft, and then we've got the handle surround. Now the handle, soft grip rubber, we've got the flared bottom on it, and it has got a slight swell in the middle, allowing my hand to sit comfortably around the shaft. We've also got a couple of added features on it, where we've got like the pin puller, we've got the claw for pulling the nails out, we've also got a magnet in the top for our first hit with our nail, stick the nail on top, knock it in. This is a mid-range hammer. It's 5 times more expensive than our Forge, but it's got more features on it, so the price probably reflects the fact there's been more engineering and more thoughts gone into this one. So this is a DeWalt hammer. You probably recognise the name and recognise the brand. Speaking of brands, let's move on to the S-Wing. Starting off with the brand, you recognise it. It's an American brand and they're renowned for making quality hammers. Now again, this one has had some thought put into it. It's been engineered. It's got the magnet on the top. It's got the pin puller on the side. It's a single unit and it's actually got quite a thin shaft on it. Well balanced, well weighted. Compared to the DeWalt, they're very, very similar hammers. The DeWalt, yes, newer hammer. It's got the added feature of the pin puller and the staple puller. But when you look at these hammers, argumentally, they are very, very similar. Similar ergonomics, same sort of structures, the size is a little bit different, but ultimately they are very, very similar hammers. So this is double the price of the DeWalt, but the main reason for that is the name, the branding behind it, S-Wing. But the brand isn't just a name. So S-Wing, I mean, these are my hammers, and I only use S-Wing because that is all they make. They make hammers. They don't diversify into making drills, into making benches, into making screwdrivers. They are just hammers. So I know I'm gonna get a top quality tool. I'm not saying that DeWalt isn't any good. DeWalt have that same impact. They make quality tools, but they are a blanket over tools, whereas S-Wing solely make hammers. If you're a trade or someone that's going to be using a hammer a lot, you want something that's reliable and robust. It needs to be able to withstand the day-to-day work. It needs to have good ergonomics. It needs to be able to absorb the recoil when you're hammering, smashing away. You need to be efficient, and more premium tools are going to have those features that make your day-to-day working so much easier. But if you're only a DIYer and you're hanging a couple of pictures, putting 12 nails in a wall, then the budget range will do you fine. So that's the exciting world of hammers. As you can see, they all come in different shapes and sizes, but fundamentally, they all do the same job. They hammer stuff. The real difference is you. What are you going to use it for? How often are you going to use it? And how much do you want to spend? Top tip, don't spend more than what you need to. Only you will know your situation, how often you use it, what you want to spend. Just take your time to watch this video again and again, like and subscribe. I use S-Wing because I love the brand and I love the quality. Let me know what sort of brand you're going to go for. Leave it in the comments, I'd love to know. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.